I'm back again to share another video titled The #1 Worst Protein in the Whole World. If you've ever heard about this organization called EAT-Lancet, Planetary Health Diet, they have this idea that the entire world needs to be on a plant-based diet and really reduce down your red meat to just a tiny little bit, maybe a few times a week. And of course, replace that with plant protein. Depending on who you ask, and especially if you ask this group right here, the worst protein in the world would be animal meat, especially red meat, and of course, processed meat like bacon and hot dogs. But what I'm going to show you today will make bacon and a hot dog look like a super healthy food, okay? So I'm going to see if you could guess what this protein is. I'm going to go through the list. #1, hint, it's an industrial extraction from defatted soy flour. What does that mean? It's an ultra-processed ingredient where they're extracting soy flour, and of course they take out the fat using a solvent called hexane. Hexane is one of the ingredients in gasoline. And sometimes you'll hear this argument where someone will say, no, hexane is not a problem because it just evaporates from the food right away. But they have to use the solvent to extract certain oil from this soy. And they use it with other things too, just to make seed oils, okay? So they use hexane. And my question back to them is, show me an independent study that shows that there's no residue of hexane in these foods. There is none. In fact, what you're going to find out is this ingredient is considered GRAS, generally recognized as safe. But that's a loophole because industry can very easily do their own studies or stamp of approval and say it's safe when there's really no independent research. I mean, think about it. Let's just take a bucket of hexane and dump your food in it, right? And let it evaporate. And then go ahead and eat it. Would you eat it? No. Someone can tell you, well, it evaporated and it's no longer there. But personally, I don't like eating things that have been soaked in hexane, but that's just me. #2 hint is the byproduct of the soybean oil industry. And when I say byproduct, it's kind of like the waste product. And of course, industry is always finding creative ways to turn their byproducts or waste into something that's profitable. And of course, with this ingredient, someone had a bright idea. Hey, why don't we just turn this thing into an ingredient that we can put into foods? I mean, you think about it, the sewage treatment plants had a problem with what are we going to do with all this sewage sludge? And so they paid this company $300,000, and that company came up with a brilliant name called biosolids. It sounds pretty good, but then they took that product and they sold it to certain companies as a fertilizer, as an organic fertilizer to help the soil. When you're buying like your potting soil and things like that, look on the label. Sometimes it'll say biosolids. Well, now you know that's sewage sludge, the byproduct of this sewage plant. Anyway, when you get into like commodities like corn and soy and things like that, they're always trying to find ways to reinvent different portions of those products. But this ingredient is the byproduct of soybean oil. They have found heavy metal contaminants, lead, arsenic, and cadmium. #4, thermomechanically restructured. What does that mean? That means the process that they use to make this product is they use temperature and they use certain machines to mechanically restructure this product. So they heat up this product and push it through this small nozzle, which creates a very interesting effect on the other end. It actually will puff up this protein because what they're trying to do is mimic the texture of meat. They use very high heats at 200 degrees Celsius, which is 392 degrees Fahrenheit. So they take the soy, they extract the oil using hexane, which is a solvent, and then the next phase, they heat it up, and then they mechanically restructure it. And currently, this one ingredient produces over $1 billion a year, and is classified as a meat substitute, sold to vegans and vegetarians. Now, what's interesting is this ingredient has been around since the 1960s, and it's marketed in the health food stores as something that's healthy, as a meat alternative. And let me share a couple things online. Not only is this ingredient high in protein, but it's low in cholesterol and saturated fat. So therefore, it's heart healthy Fascinating. It says, are there any downsides of this ingredient? The main disadvantage of this ingredient includes high levels of processing, which can lead to a loss of some beneficial nutrients from the original soy. It can also contain residual amounts of processing chemicals like hexane, and its high in sodium content can be an issue for some diets. Additionally, some individuals may experience digestive issues or allergic reactions. What is the unhealthiest protein? According to Google, one of the worst sources of protein is processed meat, hot dogs, and bacon. Fascinating, but apparently this protein seems to be okay according to them. But I'm not even done yet. I'm just getting warmed up. Check this out. Number 7, they put sodium hydroxide. This is lye. This is something that is super alkaline. So they're going to change the pH to start altering these proteins. They're adding this super alkaline substance. And then they also will later on in the process add an acid. So they're really manipulating these amino acids. Number 8, they have to add hydrogen peroxide or titanium dioxide to bleach this product. So that way they can actually color it correctly. And also, as a side note, they have to add chemicals to deodorize it. Number 9, now that we have these sponge-like chunks of protein, if you want to call it protein, they rehydrate it, okay, with oil. What kind of oil? Additional seed oil, okay? They'll use like canola, maybe corn oil. And now we have this oily cardboard that basically tastes like cardboard, and we have to flavor it. And so they'll add a meat flavor, they'll add chicken flavor, they might add pork flavor. And we're not just talking about one flavor chemical, we're talking about, it could be 50 to 100 different chemicals to create the perfect ideal taste of meat. So it kind of explodes into your brain, actually. Now, in the flavoring, they might add flavor enhancers too. They have to color it. And then finally, they have to dry it out at 175 degrees Celsius or 347 degrees Fahrenheit. So they're actually heating it twice. One thing you need to know about soy, there are certain anti-nutrients that can get destroyed with heat, but certain things don't get destroyed with heat, like the estrogenic effect of soy. So if you have a thyroid condition or you're on thyroid medication, you should not be consuming this product within 4 hours of consuming your medication because it can alter your medication. Because soy has an estrogenic effect, and that can actually affect your thyroid. And the marketing is going to be incredible because it's going to say no cholesterol, no saturated fat, high in protein. So this is now a health food product because we all know that saturated fat is the real root cause of heart disease. And it's really wild because if you compare this ingredient to animal protein that is loaded with iron, zinc, other trace minerals, B vitamins, high quality protein, there is absolutely no comparison because this ingredient is textured vegetable protein. When they say vegetable, we're talking about soy. So it's textured soy protein. It is a highly refined ingredient. It's super processed. It's filled with chemicals, heavy metals. Not to mention, it's a GMO product. Most soy is genetically modified, and it could have residues of glyphosate. And what's really wild is this EAT-Lancet planetary health diet program is telling you not to eat red meat, but this is totally okay. And so is pea protein, rice protein, and soy protein isolates. That's totally fine as long as you don't have red meat. And when I was creating this video, I was really comparing and contrasting textured vegetable protein with soy protein isolates because soy protein isolate is also a very poor quality protein, which also has exposure to hexane. But soy protein isolate ends with a powder. This textured vegetable protein starts to add more heat, more mechanical restructuring, more flavoring, coloring, bleaching, etc. So out of all of the worst proteins in the world, it's the textured vegetable protein that is at the top of the list. Now, to contrast that with the healthiest protein in the world, you got to check out this video right here.